Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're going to take a step back and reflect on the new features we got in 2021, but also things that I personally really want to have in 2022. This is basically a video about my personal wish list on features that I would want to have in the game. Before we start, however, there is a few housekeeping things to cover first. A few days ago, I released a community poll for you guys to vote on the next fighter showcase. One of my goals this year is to try and have more community input and feedback, so expect to see more of this later on. But overall, only about 10% of my subscribers have voted, and Perminator followed by Pyrotechnique is currently in the lead. Please do vote, as there is still a lot of room to change the results, and I'm looking forward to start working on the video. Next on the list is the player feedback survey. This was released very recently, and it is also very relevant to the topic of this video, so I just wanted to give it a shout out here. Filling the survey will give you some rewards for free, and who does not like free rewards? If you have any frustrations or features that you want in the game, that survey is the best place to tell the developers what you want. A link to those will be in the description down below. With those out of the way, let's get on to the video. 2021 was a peculiar year. A lot of things happened and a bunch of new stuff got added in this game. But let's turn back first to the 2021 roadmap and see how far we actually got through it. Although the developers broke it down into two main categories for 2021, the big focus last year was really on the second part, which is the quality of life updates. And all the new content we got was sort of related to an old system that got an overhaul or a change to make it better. One of the things in the roadmap is the brand new character. Now we know that this is Umbrella and she was not released last year, but development so far has been going great. From the start, I did have some doubts on whether she would make it into the game, and if she did, I would have assumed Second Encore would get her first. But it seems her second Encore release also got delayed, but development is finishing up and we are definitely going to get her sometime this year. I would guess sometime in April. And of course, we also have news that Black Dahlia is now currently in development as the next character in line. I have more optimism that she might get into the game this year, but we'll see how her development goes, and honestly, I would prefer other features to be implemented first before we get Black Dahlia. And this brings me to the next topic in the roadmap, which is facilitating fighter progression. While this game is designed to be a free-to-play game, there are definitely areas that felt so grindy and just obnoxiously tedious that things had to change. They listed 4 items here, which are XP events, XP consumables, evolution, and duplicate fighters. XP events came in the form of holodeck hazards, which was pretty well done as far as things go. While I know some people have issues that is only once per day, I personally think it's completely fine with how things are, but I could be wrong. XP consumables was one thing that did not go through, and I'm not talking about the XP boosters. The plan was to have a new kind of consumable to immediately give you a large boost of XP without requiring to fight. With the addition of holodeck hazards and diamond prize fights, however, I'm personally content with the XP gain in this game, but that said, I am coming from a late game perspective where things are much more achievable and accessible for me. Perhaps this could be an item that a lot of early game and mid game players still need for their progression. Let me know if you agree with this. Then we have the evolution, which is really a skill point issue. This has pretty much been completely fixed, as you now get all your skill points back after an evolution, so you no longer need to farm skill points anymore. And lastly, duplicate fighters. This was solved in the form of prestige abilities, which is a really cool mechanic. I am honestly a big fan of it, and although there could be some tweaks here and there for some characters, I do think the concept in general of needing duplicate fighters for it has been working pretty well. For people worrying about the game heading towards a pay to win when this was announced, it appears that it is not the case. I have not seen anyone hoarding tons of relics just to max the prestige ability. It's a powerful ability, but most of them are seen as kind of extra bonus elements. They're not really that game breaking at all. So out of those 4 items, 3 of them were fixed, which is a pretty good ratio, honestly. That's pretty amazing. And the next part is daily events and prize fights. And oh boy, this is one area which I wish they prioritized more last year, but let's start with prize fights first. Prize fights have gotten a big overhaul for great reason. We now have diamond prize fights for late game players, which is amazing. Point threshold seems to have stabilized, which is great for early game players. And best yet, variant prizes are now a milestone reward, and this is possibly the best change they could make. This helps a lot of players to progress through the game faster and getting the variant that they actually need to conquer new content. Overall, prize fight changes was S+ tier, amazing, possibly the best damn feature that they implemented last year. And then we have daily events. Just by mentioning it, I could already feel the frustration of players having to go through these every single day. Daily events is basically a mining resource to get those coins and moves and shards as well. However, it is very tedious and absolutely boring to play. There are too many nodes and the modifiers are too difficult for your autoplay to work out effectively, so you still have to manually go through each of them every single day. It's not even challenging because the enemies are not hard, but the modifiers just make it so annoying to fight. I would love this to get fixed this year, hopefully as early as possible, but I have to admit this is not the biggest feature I would want. It's up there definitely a top 3 feature I would want, but not the feature I would want the most. Regardless, please fix the daily events, please fix it before Umbrella comes. So the next part is increased relic agency, and this was a big focus from the last 4.10 update. Firstly, we got Spotlight Relics, which features a very small pool of fighters, making it easier for you to get the fighter that you want, which is great. And then we have the Tribute Cabinet, which is really game-changing and pretty awesome. This was a really cool addition to buy gold fighters with skill points, amazing feature, and I think there are still more that could be done here, and I'm not just talking about Spotlight Relics. Maybe it could be in the form of a special prize fight, similar to the seasonal ones we get every month, or perhaps it could be in the form of another consumable. I don't really know. So far, I think it's heading towards the right direction, and I'm looking forward to see more increased relic agency for players in this game. Then we have origin stories, which I'm going to skip mostly because we did not get any last year. We might get some of this year, but the purpose of these content is really for lore and nothing else, so I don't have much opinion here. I do want to say that it would be great if there was a reason for us to go back and play these story content instead of just clearing it once and forgetting about them, but I don't know if that's something that you want to do. So origin stories, really cool, great for lore and content, but aside from that, I'm not too excited for it. And lastly is the other potential feature and improvements, which is actually pretty huge. The features here are some of my top features I really want to have this year, and this includes a whole new Everest content for late game players. A whole new different experience and game mode will absolutely be amazing. Rift is pretty much the current go-to place for players to show off their skills and collection. It does have some flaws, and I would love for a different game mode to fulfill that role. Because let's be honest, Rift is not for the casual player. It is the competitive mode, and for players such as myself, sometimes we just want to play and don't try as hard. So yes, new game mode for late game players sounds amazing, and I hope we can get that this year. I kinda doubt it, but man, would it be awesome. And finally, we have moves, and oh god, these 2 points right here, these points, moves are the biggest changes I want in this game. There is something inherently flawed with how moves work. Now, I'm not talking about the gameplay aspect of it, I think it's pretty great. I'm referring to how we acquire the moves and the multitude of RNG that is associated with it. First, let's talk about the loadouts and organization. So moves are pretty much a mess, and it is so tedious to have to change moves between different variants and fighters every single fight. This is why Rift battles feel so tedious to me, because I would spend 15 minutes just switching moves for a fight in high tier Rift. That's why I don't do that anymore that much. So yes, please do implement a system to have more move loadouts to be saved, so I can use all my Cerebellas with the same moveset that is shared across all the variants, instead of having to change them one by one. It's a chore. Secondly, and this is probably the biggest change I want, is move RNG. You need to realize that moves are the biggest RNG we have in this game. It's not even fighter relics anymore. It's actually moves. First, there's RNG in the type of move that you get. If you get a move like Flash Step, that doesn't do anything because that move kinda suck. So you need to actually get a useful move. Then is the stats. Stats are a huge RNG. You really want good distribution on your moves. Something like attack piercing and HP and defense, anything like that. If you get something like element penalty, meter gain, and defense, that is a really bad move distribution. Now let's say you get a fantastic move with a great stat distribution, and here comes the third layer of RNG, leveling them up. This is where the biggest frustration and pain resides for a lot of late game players, because sometimes you get a good move and it rolls absolutely terrible. Check mine here. Instead of going to more attack or piercing, it just went all in on crit rate. I don't need that much crit rate. So yeah, please, I beg you developers, please fix moves. That is, in my opinion, way worse than dailies right now and is in need for a desperate fix. And finally, to end it all, of course we have to talk about guilds. Okay, guilds are pretty much a meme right now. I do not expect them to arrive until much later, like 2025 or something. But jokes aside, guilds would be cool, and I don't know if there's enough development time for it, and I would prefer the other features to be implemented first. But it is still something I'm excited about. I just don't expect them to arrive this year. All in all, my wish list for 2022 is to fix the RNG involved in moves, implement a system for move loadouts and organization, rework daily events, and finally a new endgame content. These 4 are pretty much at the top of my list, and I hope all 4 will be fixed by the end of this year. So what do you think, guys? Do you agree with my list? Are there any other features you'd like to be implemented this year? Are you excited for the new characters coming? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. The 2022 roadmap should arrive soon. I don't know when, but I'm crossing fingers that the things I mentioned are listed there. Anyway, y'all, that is all for me in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Don't forget to vote, and I'll see you in the next video.